I'm James Short, and I work in learning and development. And I'm going to be a bit of a master of ceremonies today, though hopefully for everyone's sake I won't end up saying an awful lot, but I will keep things moving behind the scenes. So a bit of housekeeping just before we start. As I've said, microphones on mute, please. There are various points in the script that we will prompt you to give a round of applause. You know, if it turns out that there is a bit of chat and you want to say something, please do so by unmuting yourself. Sometimes on Microsoft Teams meetings like this, there are unavoidable technical difficulties. Please bear with us while we resolve those as quickly as possible. I've not had any big problems this morning, so I think we should be okay, fingers crossed. So we want to create an atmosphere of celebration. So as I say, we'd like to encourage you to applaud at key intervals. And you can by just making sure that you unmute your microphone. I heard it done quite nicely on a session I was on the other day, and it works quite well. So plenty of applause built into today's ceremony. Not everyone is here today who is being recognised, but the beauty of doing these things on Teams is that we can record them so they can watch it later on, rather like universities record degree ceremonies nowadays, so that people kind of on the other side of the world, they don't even record anymore, do they? They do live streaming as well. So please bear in mind that the people will be watching this recording afterwards. We know how difficult things are at the moment. We appreciate it coming. If you do need to leave and sort anything out, please do so, and you can return by clicking on the link. All right. So if speakers who have joined us today, thank you so much for saying that you will say a few words. You'll be prompted by the previous speaker to start your piece. So please do listen out for that. And finally, everyone who's been recognised today will get a certificate after the event. So there'll be a special Rotherham Foundation Trust recognition of learning certificate, so that you can pop that in your personal records for your keeping. Okay. We will get those to you as quickly as possible. Obviously, thinking laterally about not wanting to send an awful lot of physical certificates out there whilst COVID is going on. We'll certainly get those to you in a COVID-friendly way. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to our chairman, Martin Havenhand, who is waiting in the wings, ready to deliver the opening salvo. So over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, James. Good morning and welcome. Hello, my name is Martin Havenhand, and I have the privilege of being the chairman of the Rotherham NHS Foundation Trust. I'm also joined today by my colleagues, Richard Jenkins, our Trust Chief Executive, and Steve Ned, our Director of Workforce and Organisational Development, amongst many other colleagues. It's always amazing to see so many colleagues who've actually been able to join us today, who have actually completed some form of learning, training or personal development since November earlier, to further enhance their own skills and ultimately to actually develop and improve the services and the care that we're able to provide to our patients here at the Trust, either at the hospital or in the community. We always encourage all of our colleagues to do their own personal development goals, to achieve their own career aspirations. And we want to take this opportunity today to formally recognise those achievements and your achievements in particular in learning and development. Soon I will hand over to Richard, our Chief Executive, who will actually take us through the ceremony, introduce each section and reading out names of our successful learners before encouraging us all to celebrate with a round of applause. We also look forward to hearing stories from some of our colleagues about the importance of their learning to themselves, to the Trust, and also learning about their experience about what it is that they have personally achieved. But first, a word from Helen Thomas, our Head of Learning and Development, who will give an overview of the breadth of learning activity that has been achieved over the last 12 months. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Good morning, everybody. And like everybody else has said, thank you so much for coming to the Recognition of Learning event today. A different kind of ceremony to those of you who've been to a Recognition of Learning event previously, but it makes it no less important today in recognising the achievements that have been made in these very unprecedented times. However, I'd like you to indulge me a little bit, if you don't mind, because I'd like to take this public opportunity to thank my own team in learning and development, whether or not they deliver, facilitate, design, develop training, or whether or not they support in the background. This has been a particularly challenging time, and certainly since we went into lockdown. And I have been absolutely amazed at how flexible they've been in terms of being able to transfer some of what would have been our face-to-face delivery into either virtual or e-learning. And I am really very proud of every single one of them for actually being that flexible and allowing the job to meld around these unprecedented times. So well done. Despite everything that's been going on in the last few months, as I say, we've been able to work with our training providers to be able to look at different ways in which we can deliver training. And yes, we do have challenges with IT. We have that all the time. Some of us actually, Teams seem to be almost our best friend now, that it enables us to keep the face-to-face contact that is incredibly important for all of us. But equally, sometimes it can be a challenge. So I applaud everybody who's undertaken learning in this environment as well. We're used to interacting and getting involved in project teams and breakout groups, and that has been much more of a challenge by using the IT. But it never ceases to amaze me, the breadth of qualifications that people undertake, and particularly, I don't think we've had anything that has actually stopped. It's just been delivered in a different way. And we've got a massive array of qualifications to celebrate this morning, from clinical and non-clinical colleagues, from level 2s through to foundation degrees and degree-based apprentices. So I don't want to steal any more of my colleagues' thunder about some of the particular programmes. So I hope that you enjoy the morning, and I'll now pass you back. I think I'm passing back to Richard now, who will start to take us through the ceremony.
Okay, thank you, and good morning, everybody. I'm really delighted to that we could go ahead with this programme despite all of the challenges of coronavirus. So the first group of colleagues we're recognising today are those who have undertaken or who are currently undertaking skills development courses. These courses enhance development beyond registration and are usually taken alongside working in the Trust. They allow us to enhance the clinical excellence we're able to offer to our patients. They're fantastic achievements, and before we recognise this formally by presenting colleagues with a certificate, I would like to hand over to James, our Senior Learning and Development Partner, who you met a few minutes ago, who is going to say a few words about how these courses contribute to the work of the Trust.
Thank you very much, Richard. So all of the people that you will hear on in this section have completed learning post-registration. So they're registered with the body, and they are therefore doing work alongside or learning alongside their job. So this section, along with all the other sections, but this section I always think represents extremely hard work and dedication. We have worked with colleagues and managers across the organisation to commission with universities and external partners the courses that we need to support our patients, and the completion of these courses represents really the final fruit of that process, which is a long and often complicated process, and one that learners stick by the organisation in completing. So thank you to these learners. It goes without saying, given what virtually, well, all of the speakers have said so far, that this year has represented a particular challenge for learners, and they've had to be patient whilst universities adapt their learning schedules to the demands of COVID. So this group of people are a tenacious group of people in the very best tradition of the NHS. We've spent onwards of £100,000 on learning at universities in the past year, and other training providers too. And that tenacity indicates to me and colleagues in learning and development that our colleagues across the trust know the value of this learning, and the need to ensure that it's completed for our patients who will experience the services that it supports. So in the future, we'll look forward to having more money to spend on continuous professional development and upskilling our workforce in line with the NHS People Plan, and to ensure that our patients can ensure experience the very best care whilst they're being looked after by us. So thank you very much for your contribution to the way that patient care is delivered in Rotherham and the district by completing this learning. Well done, you should be very proud of yourself. Okay, so I'll hand back over to Richard now, who's going to take us through the running order and the roll call of people that have completed these courses.
Thank you, James. And at various points, other colleagues are going to say a few words as well. So I'm going to go through the names of the people who've completed learning in this area. And the first category is for people who've completed the advanced physical assessment and consultation skills at Sheffield Hallam University. And that's Rowena Grimmer, Community Matron Team, and Sarah Cooper, the Patient Safety and Critical Care Outreach. So well done to you both. For completion of the Clinical Diploma in Pharmacy at Sheffield Hallam University, we've got Megan Gibbons, Alicia Gray, and Manjinder Kayla. For completion of Evidence-Based Stroke Care at the University of Sheffield, we've got Kirsty Donovan from Dietetics and Gemma Curtin from Physiotherapy. And for completion of Medical Imaging Reporting for Chest and Abdomen, we've got Sophie House from Radiography. And I believe Sophie is going to say a few words about her experience of completing this course. So over to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Richard. Morning, everyone. It's nice to see some people that aren't just in our department. It's nice. So my name's Sophie. I'm one of the reporting radiographers in X-ray. I've worked at the trust for coming up to 6.5 years now. Sorry, I'll just make my mic a bit close so you can hear me. I've been undertaking postgrad modules for the last 3 years. So last November, I completed my image reporting for chest and abdomen X-rays. So I'm now competent in reporting all plain film examinations, which is a massive help to the team and the service. So we've got a relatively small team, but between us, radiographers report the bulk of plain film X-rays that are coming through the department. And the fact we've got the team that's established now means we're reporting these X-rays within sometimes hours, but certainly days rather than weeks, which is quite an achievement for the trust, because there are trusts that have quite big backlogs of X-rays. So I'm really proud of what I do and what we do as a team. And I'm still continuing my studies now, and I'm very grateful of the opportunities that the Trust have given me and continue to give me. It's amazing, really, for a small trust that we have such opportunities. And now it's inspiring the future generation. So radiographers we have coming through can see the career path and see what they can do and achieve, which is amazing. And we've got so many people interested in developing and training. And specifically with the chest x-ray reporting, obviously the pandemic kicked off and we've seen unprecedented things, haven't we? And certainly our training didn't really necessarily provide us with what we were going to expect. So moving forward, the fact that I'm able to report on these x-rays is a massive help, obviously, at the minute. And these patients that will come back in months' time for follow-ups, we will be looking at these x-rays and seeing what's going on. So it's certainly been an eye-opener, but I'm so grateful that I've had these skills to be able to help. And I am still clinical. I still do x-ray and help to lead our team. So I've got lots of things going on. So hopefully build on those things. But yeah, and just thank you to the Trust for providing me with the opportunities, really. And I think that's all I've got to say. I think I've rambled for long enough. So I'll hand back to Richard.
Thank you, Sophie, and I can echo that. I remember not that many years ago waiting weeks for chest X-ray reports to come through. So it's real progress, isn't it? So moving now to a colleague who's completed a postgraduate certificate in magnetic resonance imaging at the University of Bradford, and that's Ali Mccann from MRI. And for completing 2 modules of the Northern School of Child and Adolescent Psychotherapy, we've got psychoanalytical approaches, personality development across the life cycle, and therapeutic communication with infants, toddlers, and their parents. And James, I don't think I have a name against that particular category. And you're on mute, James.
I'll have a look, Richard. I do apologise for that.
Okay, I'll come back to that one if we clear that up.
Yeah.
And then finally for this bit, we've got completion of minor injuries management at Sheffield Helen University. And that's Samantha Challoner from the UECC and Rachel Holland also from the UECC. So can we unmute our microphones, please, and have a round of applause for those that we've recognised so far. That works surprisingly well, doesn't it? So that's great. Thank you.
And the lady who completed those 2 really fascinating psychotherapy courses was Rachel Warburton. So round of applause for Rachel, and my apologies for missing her name out.
Okay, great. And if you could mute yourselves again, that's fantastic. So the next section is for non-medical prescribing at Sheffield Hallam University. But before I read any names, I've got some words of appreciation from our non-medical prescribing lead, Ruth Rotherham. Over to you, Ruth. I can see Ruth on the list.
Yes.
Are you muted, Ruth?
I'm here. Am I here?
Yes, you are here, yeah.
Thank you, Richard. So I'd like to begin by saying huge congratulations to all the non-medical prescribers who've completed the course over the last 12 months. The non-medical prescribing course is one of the most difficult courses that you will ever do and is a massive achievement. As a trust, we're committed to delivering excellent healthcare in the home, in the community and in the hospital, and to improving the health and well-being of the population we serve. Improving patients' access to medication and medication reviews plays a huge part in achieving this. Non-medical prescribers have an enormous impact on the trust, improving quality of care and enhancing patient experience, facilitating quicker access to treatment options, improving efficacy and effectiveness, facilitating safe discharge, reducing GP appointments, and reducing costs. Over the last few years, as part of this commitment, we have ensured that multidisciplinary services have evolved to facilitate service provision and meet the needs of our patients. This has meant a big commitment by the Trust to staff development, but an even bigger commitment by individuals to undertake the non-medical prescribing course. We currently have 118 nurse formulary prescribers in the community, so that's health visitors, school nurses and district nurses, and 208 independent or supplementary prescribers. So they're nurses, midwives, pharmacists, physiotherapists, dietitians, podiatrists and paramedics, and we'll soon have our first radiographer. The non-medical prescribing course is very difficult, mainly because of the huge time commitment required over a short period of time. As a trust, we would like to say a very big thank you to all of you who've been committed to completing this course, and we know that you will have put in many hours of your own time in order to complete it. Well done and congratulations to you all. And I'll pass back to Richard.
Thank you, Ruth. I can echo that. I've mentored people through non-medical prescribing in the past, and it's a lot of work. So well done. So the names of, and it's a long list, I'm afraid, the names of the people who've completed this course at Sheffield Helen. So we've got Jeanette Anderson from midwifery, Janine Fox from dietetics, Vicky Baker from the Evolve team, Tommy Hayward from DSC and TAU, as is Jane Shepherd, Catherine Foster-Sewell from pre-assessment, Jess Green, vascular access, Gillian Handley, pain management, Nikki Gittings, stoma care, Rachel Goodgrove, haematology, Stephanie Edmonds, surgery, Lisa Williams, hospital and night, Dawn Adsett, critical care outreach, April Brockbank, haematology, Elizabeth Bacon, photophoresis, Nicola Ball, ophthalmology, Janet Hagen, cardiology, Catherine Mangum, respiratory, Sarah Murray, breathing space, Martine Rathbone, vascular access, Jennifer Turedi, learning disabilities, Jennifer Webb, ENT and Max Fax, Amanda Wood, UECC, Karen Ford, pain team, Zoe Brashaw, gastroenterology, Claire Denning, dietetics, and Anna Hardman, also dietetics, Nikki Jameson, ophthalmology, Rebecca McClelland, ENT, and Max Fax. So a long list, a lot of work by a lot of people. Should we have another round of applause for everybody, please? If you could unmute yourself. Okay, and in a similar vein, we're now going to move to people who've done non-medical prescribing course at the University of Sheffield. So we've got Louise Lowe, midwifery, Dr. Nasir Chowdhury, dietetics, Michelle Emptage, stroke services, Claire Ellis, the neonatal outreach, Dawn Bott, respiratory, Tina Mogan, ENT Max Fax, Elizabeth Twyble, elderly medicine, Bethany Lake, palliative care, Verity Goff, midwifery, Chris Garrison, gastroenterology, and for non-medical prescribing at the University of Nottingham, Hannah Peart at UECC, and lastly, non-medical prescribing at Leeds Beckett University, Shay Bruce, UECC, and Gareth Darnell at UECC. And finally, we've also got the pharmacist independent prescribing course, and we've got, and just struggling to read this at the moment, Sakleen Shah, who completed at Sheffield Hallam University, plus Hakija Jubin, Megan Gibbons, Alicia Gray, and Zerlish Afsal, all completed the University of Bradford course. All of these colleagues are from the pharmacy department, so can we have a further round of applause for these prescribers as well, please? Okay, thank you. And now we've got a very special group of learners who've completed OSCEs, which many of you will know stands for Observed Structured Clinical Examination at the University of Northampton. So it's incredible actually how many different academic institutions our staff are working at. So these colleagues joined us as nurses from outside of our borders and worked hard to earn a place on the NMC register as registered nurses. And as you can imagine, they've all overcome many barriers to achieve this notable goal. So before I read their names, someone who's witnessed their hard work at first hand is Rachel Quinn, and Rachel's going to give us a bit more information about this.
Hello, good morning. So my name's Rachel Quinn. My camera didn't work this morning, so I apologise that you can't see me. I'm in the workforce development team along with Mary Dugan. So our first group of international colleagues arrived on the 29th of July from India. So they had 2 weeks isolation and then their journey began. This was the first time that the Trust has undertaken recruitment for our nursing workforce in this way. It's been a learning curve for us all, but their membership to the nursing register is a testament to all their hard work. After several weeks of specific training with us and hours of their own study in their own time and in work, they have had a positive result and they've passed the NMC Oscar. We are very proud of the ladies, and it's a testament to their 110% effort that they put in it all the time. They built trust and relationships with us, and we brought us to this point. Thank you, ladies, and well done for all your efforts. I'll hand back to Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. So those who've passed the OSCEs to become registered nurses are Miranda Sharji from ASU, Nimi Sukumaran from Keppel, Neetu Kisakevatam from AMU, Preeti Payas from B5, Rinda Ravindan from A5, Anila Achuthan from B5, and Juhi Chako from A5. And can we have a round of applause for these colleagues as well, please? Thank you. So now to our second category for today, and that's those we are recognising for completing courses related to supporting our non-medical students on placement at the Trust. And to say a few words about this important category, Laura Clark, the Trust's practice learning facilitator, will be reading out names in this category so I can take a bit of a rest. So Laura, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. My name's Laura Clark, and as Richard said, I'm the practice learning facilitator for the Trust. As some of you know, from September 2019, the nursing curriculum changed across the country, and now students are on an integrated curriculum, so lots of students from different professions all trained together now. Nurses, midwives, paramedics, OTs, physios, they all train together now so that the teamwork is embedded right from day one, because we're all going to be working together when we're out on the wards and the departments. And then the NMC also set out new standards for supervision and assessment of students, and we're moving away from the term mentor now. And students now need a practice supervisor and a practice assessor. So us as a trust, we developed an in-house practice supervisor training that was delivered pre-COVID, face-to-face over 2 full days of training. And I'm going to read a list out of everybody that's completed it, the face-to-face training. So we extended the training out to the GP surgeries across Rotherham, and we've got Cheryl Meakin, Ruth Moore, Jeanette Preston, Holly Taylor, Donna Utley, Dawn Carr, Susan Kelly, Tracy Stimpson, Kay Hattersley, Yvette Phillips and Sarah Rackham. And then from Ward B5, we've got Rachel Appleby, Katie Earnshaw, Jessica Chapman, Sophie Crofts. And from B11, there's Harvey Nightingale, Rebecca Measures. From Ward A3, there's Heather Lee. From my old stomping ground on A1, we've got Mobin Matthew, Katie Chisel, Valerie Garraway and Cheryl Cornwall. From Fitzwilliam, we've got Shiju Panus. From Tissue Viability, there's Heather Warling. From Stroke and Neuro Rehab, we've got Natalie Critchlow, John Padley, Chloe Wilson, Wendy Coyle, Felicity Oxongo. From Max Fax, we've got Rachel Holhouse. From Keppel, there's Emma Stacey, Azam Memon, Lauren Hughill, Leah Binns. And then from Ward A5, we've got Susan Speakman. From UECC, there's Laura Cookson, Hannah Charville and Devon Hall. From Critical Care, there's Caitlin Dickinson, Gemma Hawkins and Lucy Clare. And then from the community nurses, we've got Daisy Toby, Kerry Mullins, Nicola Robertson, Jeanette Preston, Rachel Cutts-Jones, Kerry Hitchin, Laurie Kay, Cassie Buckley, Daisy Totte, Katie Murphy and Hayley Hinston. From the Allocate on Arrival team, there's Uzma Hussain, From ASU, there's Katie McCafferty, Christine Alley. From AMU, there's Helen Goddard. From Outpatients is Helen Favre. Ophthalmology daycare is Lindsay Rugby. And from the hospice is Jill Driver. From Rotherham CCG is Danielle Rogers. And last but not least, colleagues from the Notes and Service, we've got Katie Hillis, Emma Harris, Deborah Cunliffe, Leslie Greenwood, Karen Gilbert and Jim Collins. A big round of applause for that long list of names. And then just to echo what Helen Thomas said at the beginning, that we've had to be, since COVID and the lockdown, we've had to be more dynamic in the way that we deliver courses. So we've adapted the practice supervisor training for the staff that have to do some self-directed learning, and then it's also a blended approach then via Microsoft Teams as well. So I'm just going to read a list out of the staff that have all engaged with it since it's been on Teams, and I'd just like to say thank you to everybody as well, because I've had a lot of engagement with it, and despite all the pressures out on the wards, I've had quite a few staff that have attended and completed the training. So we've got Emma Jones from A1, Charlene Lowe from B5, Karen Gilbert, who's a health visitor, Jane Collins, who's also a health visitor, Nazia Hussain from AMU, Imogen Hardwick from the Children's Ward, Lucy Ellis from the Children's Ward, Cosmin Theodore from A2, Naomi Mulkeen B11, Rebecca White from Fitzwilliam, Lindsay Holly from Dinnington Group Practice, Katie Barker, who's also from Dinnington Group Practice, Mandy Hardman from Sitwell, Stacey Lee Dewick from UECC, Elsie Hobson from the Central 2 team out in the community, Thekla Broadbent from Sitwell, Najo Bunkaye from A1, Susan Hargate from Endoscopy, Catherine Lazenby from Endoscopy, Julia Taylor, Chris Clayton, Casey Johnson are all from Ward A1, Nikki Wharton from the Complex Care team, Adrian Ragg from A2, Robert Smith from the Children's Acute and Complex Care team, Alex Shepherd from B5, Jade Beardsley from B11 and Gemma Lowe from A3. Just like to say well done and congratulations to you all, and another round of applause. And then finally as well, that although we've got the new integrated curriculum from 2019, the curricula before that do still require mentors. So I'm just going to read out some names of the staff that have completed their mentorship at Sheffield Hallam University. There's Emily Collins from Midwifery, Jade Johnson Biddles from the Acute Community Nursing from the Health Village, Wendy Raffo from Orthopaedics, Sarah Hibbert from Endoscopy and Rachel Holland from UECC. And another round of applause. And I'll hand you back to Richard.
Thank you, Laura. So our final category for today, we're going to focus on apprenticeships. And to introduce this section, I'm going to ask Graham Travis, who's our apprenticeship manager, to say a few words. Over to you, Graham.
Good morning, everyone. I'm apprenticeship manager at the Trust. It's great that all our apprentices get this opportunity to be recognised for what they've achieved over the last 12 months. To see so many apprentices complete in such difficult times is fantastic. There's a personal and departmental commitment to all apprenticeship programmes, and to keep that drive and momentum going is absolutely brilliant. You'll see when Richard reads out the apprentices' names, there's been such a diverse range of apprenticeships at different levels. We've been able to offer 32 different apprenticeship programmes to new and existing staff, ranging from level 2 right up to the highest level 7 over the last 3 years. Understandably, we have a keen interest in clinical apprenticeship programmes. However, it's been quite an even split between clinical and non-clinical apprenticeship programmes at the Trust. New apprenticeship qualifications are being developed all the time, so the apprenticeship team will always welcome any staff who are looking to upskill or progress to contact us. This year, some of our apprentices have been proudly recognised for their achievements in local award ceremonies with the Rotherham Advertiser and R&N Group, where they've won Apprentice of the Year in a number of different categories. As a trust, we continue to exceed the government public sector target of having at least 2.3% of our employed staff on an apprenticeship programme at one time. We currently have 173 apprentices, which equates to 3.64% of our overall workforce. Apprenticeships are becoming more well known across the trust, and we have numerous departments and divisions wanting to engage and insist in investment and development of our employees' futures. Finally, I'd like to congratulate every apprentice who has passed and completed an apprenticeship in the last 12 months, and also the line managers and ward managers who continue to support in their progress. Thank you, everybody, and hand you back to Richard.
Thank you, Graham. So our first group of achievers are those who've completed the Business Administration Level 2 apprenticeship in the last year. And so that is Laura Coggill from Sexual Health, Shannon Earp from Children's and Young People Services, Amy Powers from Learning and Development, Jessica Radford from Integrated Sexual Health, Lauren Rockley from Financial Services, Olivia Wood from the IT Training Department, Daniela Longdon from Green Oaks. And now for the Business Administration Level 3 apprenticeship, Amber Graves, Orthopedics, Maria Scott, Family Health Management, Anissa Ali, General Surgery, Molly Lloyd-Waits, Family Health Management, Daniel Brown, Therapies Management Team. Can I have a round of applause, please? Okay, thank you. And if you just mute yourselves again, please, that's great, thank you. So now on to our successful Healthcare Science Level 2 apprentices, and that starts with Jessica Hunter from Respiratory, Alice Peace from Respiratory Physiology, and now the Pharmacy Apprenticeships. At Level 2, we've got Sophie Lancashire from Pharmacy, and at Level 3, Sophie Scott from Pharmacy and Darcy Law from Pharmacy. I'm going to move us on to our next apprentice for Healthcare Support. So for the Healthcare Support Worker Level 2 apprenticeship, we've got Gurpreet Singh. And for the Senior Healthcare Support Worker Level 3, we've got Joanne Grice, Integrated Rapid Response, Paul Jepson, Theatres, Amber Lines, Ward A4, Nicola Marsh, Green Oaks, Nicole Howarth, Ward A2, and then moving up to the Healthcare Assistant Practitioner Foundation Degree Level 5 apprenticeship, Lindsay Fairhurst from Children's Community Nursing, Alison Jones from Therapies, Anne Liversedge, Vascular Access, Michelle Sweeney, Out of Hours Community Nursing, Jane Law, Community Occupational Therapy, and I think Jane was also the Higher Apprentice of the Year at the Rotherham Advertiser Apprenticeship Awards this year. Katie Barnes from the Stroke Unit, Louise Connell from Children's Complex Needs, Joanne Eyre from Intermediate Care, Wendy Jarvis, Ward B11, and Wendy was the R&N Group Principals Apprentice of the Year in 2020. Catherine J, Local Authorities Community Team, Alex Meakin, Therapies and Dietetics, Francis Riley, Community Physio, Dawn White, Local Authority Community Team, and Kath McCartan from Phlebotomy. And I think Kath is going to say a few words for us now. Kath.
Good morning, everybody. I'd just like to say, I began working for the NHS as a domestic 25 years ago and longer. I've been very fortunate by accessing a number of apprentices through the years. And it's given me the professional and academic route to progress in the NHS. I'm a great believer in education, although I must admit when I was approached by the managers in 2018 to attend university, I was daunted at my age, basically. My first thoughts was I'd never be able to finish it. And with the colleagues and tutors and the support I was given, I did actually complete, much to my surprise, very proud of myself. Again, no short with Wendy Flynn, who was the tutor at RNN, who supported all of us through it. So the last 2 years have been challenging at times, balancing my full-time work, family commitments, my voluntary work that I do in the village. I'm very proud, and I'm very proud that my dad actually got to see that I'd completed it before he passed away, which was very personal to me. We had a very good support group in our team, and out of the 8 of them, 3 have gone on to do the nurse training, and 2 have actually got progressing within the department. I myself has actually been promoted to the support worker for our support manager for our team. Very nervous, you can tell. So yeah, I'm very, very proud. I have achieved the Apprenticeship of the Year from the RNN group. Again, very nice surprise. All I can do is thank everybody for the opportunity they've given me personally, and just like to take opportunity to congratulate everyone who's completed it and won the awards. Very well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Kath. That's really good to hear that. And we're going to have a big round of applause in a minute, but a few more names to announce first. So I'm going to move now to our first ever qualified trainee nursing associate foundation degree level 5 apprentices. So we've got Tom Beresford from UECC, Elisha Freeman, A3, Megan Galloway from ASU, Cheryl Greenwood, Ward B5, and Nicole Loxley from Fitzwilliam. And finally, those who've completed the higher level healthcare science level 6 degree apprenticeship, got Gwen Dern from medical physics, Samantha Horton from medical physics, and Angela Lambert from cardiorespiratory. So could we have a huge round of applause for all our apprenticeship who've achieved their qualification this year? And at this point, I'm going to hand you back to our chairman, Martin.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you to each and every one of you who have actually done an absolutely super job. And in particular, I'd like to thank those who've shared their stories with us this morning. I mean, that sort of gives an element of richness and a real understanding about the challenges that you've been through. So that's been a real pleasure to listen to those. I've really enjoyed all this morning and actually listening to what it is that you've all been saying about your learning, and about the fact is that this is actually lifelong learning in the true sense. Listening to Kath there in terms of her experience, and I'm sure is that we'll all appreciate that just seeing a picture this morning of many experiences, we've only just scratched the surface. We know that there will be colleagues right across our organisation who every day are learning something new whilst doing their job, whether that be through practical clinical skills, development of regular reflection or reading journal articles. The opportunities are endless. And as a board, on behalf of the board, I would like to pay tribute to the learning power of those that we all work alongside of. And thank you for your personal contributions of constantly improving your skills, which in turn, although they've benefited you individually, which is fantastic, they actually provide better quality services for our patients and the public of Rotherham, which is absolutely terrific. We also recognise that much of this learning has taken place during a very challenging time during this COVID pandemic. And we acknowledge the sticking power, the staying power of those who continued to learn whilst their jobs became more and more challenging. So it's a very big thank you to everyone who has come today to kick off our proud award celebrations in style. And we very much look forward to hearing about the learning which is completed between now and next year's proud awards. Thank you for allowing me to join with you and have a super this morning. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's that can be a hand back to me, just to say thank you so much, everyone, for coming and sticking the format. I hope that it's really positive on a Monday morning in winter, and just to say how proud I am, and the learning and development team is of all of the learning that you undertake. So we're a little under time, but such is the world of virtual meetings. But you get the gift of an hour extra back for your working life. So it's learning, the gift that keeps on giving. And it's been lovely to see everybody. Thanks so much to everyone who supported us to get this sorted and up and running and working in difficult circumstances. Okay, so a massive round of applause to everyone now. Okay. All right, lovely. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.